TIAA is on a mission. Why? Because 54% of Black Americans don't have enough savings to retire. So in collaboration with big-name artists like Wyclef Jean, TIAA released Paper Right, new music inspiring a new financial future. With 100% of streaming sales going to a nonprofit that teaches students how to invest. Stream Paper Right now and help close the gap.
This episode is brought to you by Carnegie Mellon's Tepper School of Business. Want to advance your career or switch fields? An MBA from Carnegie Mellon's Tepper School of Business can help. Earn your degree from a top-ranked business school with a thought-provoking curriculum, one-on-one leadership coaching, support from experienced career counselors, and full-time, online hybrid, and accelerated MBA formats. Join the intelligent future. Visit cmu.edu/Tepper to learn more.
Hey guys, welcome to this week's podcast episode. I've got a fantastic guest for you today, full of experience, Nedko from Bulgaria. And he is an online marketer. He's got over a decade experience with SEO, paid advertising affiliates, and B2B marketing. And he's the founder and CEO at podvertise.fm. And so today's talk is going to be all about podcast advertising and the sponsorships marketplace, matching brands and agencies to the most relevant podcasts to advertise on. So I'm really excited about this show and welcome to the show. So Nedkov, welcome.
Thank you, Christopher, for having me. Really great. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm always, like I said, I love talking to people on the cutting edge. And one of those trends is advertising on podcasts, and kind of talk about your background and your experience and how you got started in this burgeoning field.
Yeah, absolutely. So I've been, as you said, in marketing forever, and I started with SEO optimizations and back then for Google rankings. And over time, I've got into paid advertising, co-founder in PPC ad network. But over time, I figured out like it's super competitive if you do just another ad network. So I figured out and kind of started my first startup, which was for websites advertising marketplace. And we were working there, going to conferences, building up. It was interesting field for sure. But during COVID, I was listening so much to podcasts like on daily basis and so often about from marketers, entrepreneurs, startups. And I've seen that it's really fragmented market where there are a lot of hosting companies, the listening apps, different monetization models, but there is not like global marketplace for the monetization of podcasts. And I figured out that it's really something that could be super great opportunity to help the podcasters to monetize better, because they really would need like additional revenue stream from there to keep building it week after week, because you know better than me how much dedication it takes and all this. And we pivoted then, and we've built it for like year and a half, even second year now. And we started, we just launched it like in September publicly, and we've onboarded right now like 400 podcasts with few hundred offers there. And it's super interesting, because I can see that what we're building is actually helping podcasts to monetize, to also educate themselves, like how to make their advertising proposals. So it's really kind of like an ecosystem around the monetization, because there are multiple ways. And we try to help or go-to-market strategy, let's say, is we're focused on the Host-Rea ads, because they're directly revenue for the podcast, and also they're really easy to organize for them, and also they're very good. Not to forget also about the brands and businesses. It's also very much better to have like host is reading that or talking about it during the episode. Is way more better for his audience listeners. That's our focus right now.
Yeah, and quite interesting. And like I said, I'm always curious to where the attention is going. And, first it was like, you had radio, TV, and then like kind of like newspapers, and then now it went digital. It went to like blogs and
Now is the social Facebook, Instagram, and now TikTok, especially with TikTok shops, it's going crazy over there. Yeah.
yeah, TikTok. Where are we in podcast advertising? Are we still early? Is it still like, like one or couple?
Yeah, question, because the podcast industry, the podcast medium exists for like over 20 years, you can say.
Yeah.
But right now, I think during the COVID, and of course the Joe Rogan presence during the years, it's kind of emerging in the last few years since the COVID. It's really going year over year, it's growing up, like based on the IAP statistics. It's like going very fast and growing like 15 to 25% per year or something like this. I have to check the stats, but yeah, so it seems that it's really going. And also what I've seen in the last maybe 6 months or something, maybe because I listen way more about the word podcasts if I hear it in the everyday life, but every company is trying to build their own podcast. So I think right now it's the B2B and brand podcasts are trying to build up, but I can see that at some point they'll try to work with podcasters like you who have the experience, who have their audience. So at some point there will be some kind of collaborations between brands and existing podcasts. I think that will happen over time. So yeah, it is great time right now, and it will be growing medium for the share for the next few years. I cannot perfectly estimate.
Yeah, like you said, like I said, it's all the advertising dollars going to TikTok, and in the past it was Instagram, YouTube, and then that's why in 2018 they said podcasting, pay attention to podcasting, because that was kind of really new and early. And if you could start a show, start it, because now a lot of the advertising, especially with Spotify now, and they're doing a lot of, well, especially with AI now, and it's just kind of like a lot of the attention is still very early, because there's like, I heard there's like only a couple 100,000 just active shows.
Because we have some kind of big data analysis, and we kind of see it. It's like this. It's a few hundred thousand. It really depends, but 400 to 600, something like this, thousand podcasts are active ones over the last 120 days or something like this. So it's really like this. It's very hard to continue doing it with the dedication, I believe, but I think it's worth it over time for sure. Because there is also this kind of separation, or how to say it, about the brands and the businesses. They still are not educated about how to do it. And I think we are going to do a lot about this, because there are a lot of newcomers or willing to become advertisers, but just don't have the rope how, like, to know how to do it properly. And there is not enough educational content around this. So this is a mission for us to also build that, because it's really will be helping a lot.
Yeah.
I believe that will open a lot, as more platforms there for monetization, helping the podcasts, and then as more educational content there is, I think this will simplify it, and then of course the advertisers will follow, for sure.
Yeah, and the listenership is just increasing like 10-20% every year. So
yeah, absolutely, it's growing even more, I think. Yeah.
So
and now it's global, since of course in US it's going much faster than everywhere, but it's now growing also here in Bulgaria, in Europe. And also it's much more trustful medium, because you listen to the person for 30 minutes or you see him as now. So it's much better even for the brands to build awareness this way, because it's much more trustful, stable, long term. It's different than just a banner in a website or something. So it will grow for sure over time.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of the early days, like the YouTubers, and they just built it in quiet. And then once YouTube got very popular, you had guys like Mr. Beast.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like this. I believe that momentum is coming for the podcast because it's really emerging. The brands already know it. They just researching how to do it, I think. So it's really a matter of time to adopt this. Also, a lot of podcasts have great, how to say, diversity of the content or distribution, like as you are doing on YouTube, and then you can be on TikTok Reels and so on. So it's really kind of building on all channels, and it's really helping this way to, of course, for the advertiser to be everywhere as well. So it's merging between the podcasts and podcasting and social networks. It's really merging the traffic and of course, and the monetization.
Yeah. Kind of the next question I have is, what are some common challenges both advertisers and podcasters face in the advertising space, and how does Podvertise FM help overcome these challenges?
Yeah, okay. So right now, of my observations of the industry is like you need to be a little bit more educated as advertiser, and also as podcast. You have to have a minimum limit of downloads or listenership, so you can be part of most ad networks, you can say, and really it's takes time for the podcast to start monetizing at all. And then same time, advertisers don't have enough, not access, but more like education and easy access to as many podcasts as possible. So it's like they just start to advertise on more random basis. What we are trying to do with Podvertise is we invite the podcasts to list their ad offers, and they are really public in the marketplace. So so the advertiser, it could be marketing agency, brand, small business, anyone can actually research by category or by search engine and can find like the ad offers with specific downloads, with specific audience details, with the pricing is public. So it really simplifies it, and you can make a decision in like a few seconds. You can find out a relevant podcast to your business, and then you can start testing out. You can directly message, so it's an open system where both sides can message each other. So this is really helping for both sides to build a relationship, so they can start to advertise and then to do the whole brand campaign, and either the Host-Rea ad, it could be also an interview, it could be pre-recorded ads. So it's always opening. It really depends on the podcasts. They decide, he decides like what kind of offer he wants to offer. So it's really simple, and it takes like a few minutes to list an ad offer. And then we're just like how to say, like additional revenue stream. So we don't have some exclusive contracts and all this. So the podcast can work with whoever they want. We also try to work with podcast networks, and to actually help them. Either they can list the offers of the podcast they work with, or they can invite the podcasts to list their ad offers. So yeah, we try to work with everybody on the market and make it simple and fast to make decision about the advertisement.
Yeah, the other question I have is navigating host-read ads, and what I've really tried to understand is there a unique aspect of advertising, and explain the process of managing these ads through Podvertise and what makes them more effective compared to other forms of digital advertising.
Yeah, sure. So this is really, as I said, it's really a simple process that takes few minutes to list your offer. And you can literally write it in the title and of course in the description later. Like if this is a pre-roll, mid-roll, post-roll, if this is a Host-Rea ad, and then of course the title of the podcast, and the advertiser will know, okay, this ad is for about 30 seconds or 60 seconds, and they can directly decide and either message you, either directly they can purchase it. And then the process is when the advertisement is purchased, they message each other for more details about the message, about the Host-Rea details, and then once the episode is live, the podcast is literally sharing the link and the minute when the Host-Rea was set, and the advertiser verifies and says thank you, and that's pretty much. And they can exchange reviews, because those will be super helpful. When you as a podcast have more reviews, it means more advertisers will after that follow. Pretty much like how Fiverr works, for example, because that's where we were inspired from, because it's like a really geeks marketplace for everybody, from smaller to bigger marketers or whatever. So we try to do same, to open it for all sizes and niches of podcasts, from the small ones to, of course, also the big ones, whoever wants to list their ad offering.
Yeah. And then kind of following it and kind of concluding is, future trends and giving your experience with SEO and other digital marketing. Where do you see the future of podcast advertising heading, and how is it Podvertise preparing to adapt or lead these future trends in podcast sponsorships and advertising?
Yeah, sure. So I can see that, of course, AI will be more and more implemented, and there are already great different SaaS tools that help the podcast to really get the transcription and just curate the summary of the episode. So it really simplifies it. It makes it easy for them to share it on all their social medias. There are also tools that do make videos, like real short videos that are very easy to share on social media. So what we are doing, we are working also on transcriptions and figuring out the best way to actually match the most relevant advertisers for specific podcasts, based even on episode level, based on the transcription content and all this. So we are trying in the long term to kind of match them in real time if it's possible, and that's what we are trying. And also, of course, we are also suggesting to the advertisers like advertising message, which is based on big data analysis of previous advertisements, so we can actually compile and create an advertising message for their advertisement. So in that direction, big data, content, and AI mechanisms where it's possible.
Yeah. How can people contact you and find out about the work that you do?
Yeah, sure. So you can find me in podvertise.fm. In the footer, there is a link to my LinkedIn account, and I'm Nedkov, so you can find me on LinkedIn also. And we can talk more for sure. It would be great.
Yeah, for all the audience out there, let's thank Nedko for coming on and talking about this interesting field. And be sure to give him a like and follow in his socials. And with that, thanks so much for coming onto the podcast.
Thank you very much, Christopher, for having me. It was great.